somebody who's given up their license, and the lady in the back raised her hand. She's like, what if I work for a prime and I got rid of my license? And the law actually says, and this is kind of funny, C5009L, that's the part of the statute. We named this form after the part of the statute that says we have to do it. It's 42-5009L. And so that's the name of it. It actually says in the law, it was part of House Bill 2389, that we must provide a certificate for those people who decide to get rid of their licenses if they want to purchase exempt for a specific job. That form is available on our website now. The prime fills it out and submits it to us. They give us the 5009L. They give us their information. They give us the information for a list of all the subs that they're going to hire that do not have a TPT license. So the painter, the landscaper, the guy that's going to do the pool refinishing, all that kind of stuff. They give us a description of the project, and they give us a copy of the contract. They send it all to this address. They can hand deliver it as well. And they get a reply from us pretty quick. Everybody's like, how quick? And the answer is, if you've ever had to get a building permit, how fast do we turn around the bond exemption for you? About 24 hours. There's 3 people that do that at the Department of Revenue for the whole state. There's 5 people that are going to do this. And I'm just going to say this is just going to be my guess. I don't think we're going to get a landslide thousands of these all at once. So I'm thinking it'll probably be about 24 hours. And though they'll mail you the hard copy of it back, you may be able to ask them if you need it like pronto for them to fax it to you. Okay? What they're going to do when they get it is they're going to serialize it. They're going to give it a number, and they're going to put it in a database. Your contract will have a date of when the approximate time that that project should be completed is. We understand sometimes they overrun. If we look at a period of 4 months, give or take, on a contract end date, and you haven't paid tax on the contract, we might have a reason to talk to you. Okay? Yes, sir.
How do you file it if you don't get it right the first time, you have additional subcontractors?
You can make amendments.
Okay, there's a form for that?
I'm sorry?
Is there a form for that?
The same form that you submitted the first time with just an explanation letter. And what we will do is we will add it to your file already. Hey, I was going to use Dick and Jane's painting company, but now I'm using Joe and Judy's. Yeah. We get it, because sometimes stuff changes. Heck, at our end, sometimes stuff changes. We roll with it. We understand the fluidness of business. Okay. The Form 5000 isn't going away. There are going to be some changes to it. Let me talk about one of the changes. How many retailers do I have? Do you have those people that come here once a year, they visit snowbirds, and they know that they can purchase and give you a Form 5000 and give you a picture of their driver's license, and then they say ship it to Indiana and they don't have to pay tax? Guess what's going away in 2015? If they walk like a duck and they purchase like a duck, they're paying tax like a duck. If they're here, whether they have it shipped home or not, they're going to pay tax. This isn't part necessarily of the TPT simplification. This is part of an alignment that all states are doing in order to get it so that internet sales are less abuse of tax not being paid. Remember a few years ago, 2010 maybe, they put that use tax line on the individual income tax return and everybody flipped their wigs like, holy cow, this is a new tax. It is not a new tax. It's been around as long as transaction privilege tax has been around. People don't pay it. They don't pay it in Arizona. They don't pay it in Indiana. They don't pay it. And so this is one of the things that the states are all coming together to do to make it so that there's paying at the point of sale. And so this is something that's changing. But the number 3 exemption is not changing because there'll be contractors who can still use it.
That law is going to be effective
January 1st, 2015. Yes. Yes. Our friends from the north. I like them. I have friends who are snowbirds from Saskatchewan, and I'm from northern New York. I've been here 34 years, but I have friends and relatives that still come visit too. But they're going to have to pay tax on stuff they buy here. It's not going to make them happy. Yes, sir.
Question on timing. If I've got a contract that started the 1st of November and will end in February of 2015, and currently I'm treating it as a crime, but it will change to a service effective January 1st. How do I report that?
You could do a change in order to change the amount that you would be taxing the person to begin with, and make an amendment, because tax on, you know, one of the things we looked at is tax on 65% of the job is almost always more than tax on 100% of the material in contracting. I could only come up with one example when it wasn't, and that was carpeting. I couldn't even say tile, because tile is kind of labor intensive. So there were arguments that tile could be close. But in your case, you probably would be over-collecting if you determined that you wanted to do it that way. If it's a pre-existing contract and you had a reason to keep it the way it was, you could keep it the way it was, and we aren't gonna ever penalize you for paying us more. In fact, if you look at your individual income tax return, has everybody noticed the I didn't pay enough box? There is a box for you to elect to just give us extra money. I'm gonna say it right now, it gets used.
That's scary.
I work there, I wouldn't pay us more. Not because I don't want to, but because I work there, I need it. Okay, so we have some specific scenarios. This is the lady that has the alteration, gets a kitchen island. Even though the island didn't exist, the kitchen in the house did. That makes it alteration. One of the things that somebody said to me when they were wrapping their head around this was, if the item existed before and it still exists when you're done, a house. If it still exists when you're done and it's still the same thing, it's a house. It pretty much almost always falls into this, huh? And I was like, it's pretty close. There are some things that could be modification, but anything within the walls of a house is probably almost always going to be alteration.
What about pre-wires for an existing building? Like a contractor comes in, builds the walls, makes the house. We pull the wires for the alarm system. Is that an alteration?
So the house already exists and has already been paid for.
It's a new build through contractor.
Right.
And the walls are up and we're.
Is the contractor going to be the one that charges the homeowner?
In one situation, yes. In another, it could be from.
In that situation, it would be treated as you being a sub.
Okay, and then if it's from not the building company, but the owner of the home.
And you're doing it as separate work while the house is being
Correct.
built, my feeling is that that would be an alteration.
Okay.
Because you're working, here are the rules. You're doing something to an existing structure, at that point it's existing, and you're working for the property owner, and those are the two rules.
So as long as you're not a subcontractor.
As long as you're not a sub for the prime, I would say that you're pretty safe.
Okay.
Okay? A business has an existing pump system, it doesn't work, they hire somebody to repair it. The repair is repair. A homeowner decides to add a new block wall where none never existed before. Later, after he has the block wall, he decides to stucco and paint it. The building of the block wall, going to be modification, nothing existed there before. He's gonna build the wall, that's gonna have contracting. Anything that happens after the fact that it's built is different, especially in this case where it's a different contractor or a different contract to stucco and paint it. So in that case, that would be alteration. Homeowner decides to have a new outdoor kitchen installed in her backyard. The kitchen will not be attached to the existing structure and there's nothing but grass there now. In this case, it's prime contracting. Nothing exists there but grass. I'm building a whole entire kitchen outdoors, which by the way, I would like. If anyone has me on their Christmas list or is my secret Santa. I know, that's a lot to ask for. A homeowner builds a shed. They buy it from a home improvement store, have it delivered prefab. It goes and is bolted to an existing slab of concrete. During the installation, they also installed lighting. The installation and interior lighting did not involve taxable modifications. It's being attached to an existing slab that's already there. Therefore, it is not contracting. Okay, so that's the nuts and bolts of contracting. There's 13 pages more out on the Department of Revenue website. The lady who wrote it is named Christy Comanita. She's one of our tax research analyst heads. She's kind of in charge of all that. I like her. She's really fun to travel with and talk to because I learn a lot. Sometimes people ask her questions, and as much as she knows, she'll go, let me think about that. One of the questions she got asked recently was a stumper. The question was, I am a contractor and I work out of San Luis, and sometimes I work across the border, but I'm based in Arizona. Do you have a deduction yet for out of country or out of state contracting? And the answer was, let me think about that. When you look at the deduction code list, you're gonna notice it says the word draft across it. There's a reason. It's a living document. We know that there is some odd things that we probably haven't thought about. Because again, not everybody does what they're good at. We're good at taxes, but we're not good at what you do. And odds are there'll be something odd that comes up like that, and we'll have to think about it, and there may be added deductions. If there's something that you really can't wrap your head around or find the right deduction or whatever, or it's just plainly a weird scenario, doesn't really fit anything, call us. We'll answer. Okay. So